Are you planning your first trip to Sydney and not sure where to start? From walking across the iconic Harbour Bridge, seeing the Opera House, to relaxing on world-famous Bondi Beach, Sydney is packed with incredible things to see and do, but it can be hard to work out what's worth your time. In this video, I'll take you through the best things to see and do in Sydney for first-timers. Whether you're here for a quick city break or a full holiday, these spots will help you pick and choose what will make Sydney truly unforgettable for you. This comes complete with a specially pinned map and 5-day itinerary linked in the description below. Hyde Park is Sydney's oldest public park, and it's a nice place to take a break from the hectic city traffic. It's centrally located, so easy to include on a walking itinerary. The wide tree-lined paths and fountains make it a pleasant spot to wander. The standout feature is the Archibald Fountain, built in 1932, which has become a popular meeting point and photo stop. On the southern end of the park, you'll find the Anzac War Memorial, which is both impressive and moving. Entry to the memorial is free, and exhibitions inside give you context to Australia's military history. As you explore, you'll see other statues and monuments. Matt and I wandered through Hyde Park on our way to St Mary's Cathedral and found it an easy, relaxing walk. The Sydney Tower Eye is the tallest structure in the city, standing at 309 metres. If anything, it gives you one of the best vantage points to understand how Sydney fits together. Tickets are around $42 for adults online, and I recommend booking in advance. From the observation deck, you get a full 360-degree view of the city and beyond. The one thing I noticed is the view of the Opera House isn't the best from here, since it's partially blocked by other buildings. The Harbour Bridge is visible, but feels a little distant. Still, the views of Darling Harbour, Hyde Park, and the sprawl of Sydney suburbs make up for it. Inside the tower, there's a small cafe where you can grab a drink or snack while you enjoy the view. There's also a souvenir shop downstairs. While the observation deck only takes about an hour to visit, it's a great addition to your itinerary. It's touristy, yes, but for first-timers, the Sydney Tower Eye provides the best bird's-eye view of the city. The Australian Museum is the oldest museum in the country, dating back to 1827, and it's ideal for anyone interested in natural history or culture. The best part, entry is free, which makes it ideal if you're trying to stretch your travel budget. Inside, there are several floors of exhibits covering everything from dinosaurs to Indigenous Australian history. One highlight for me was the giant dinosaur skeletons. It's both educational and eye-opening. Families will appreciate the museum is interactive in parts, making it engaging for kids. There's also a large cafe on the ground floor, which is handy if you want a break. You could easily spend a quick hour here or deep dive and spend half a day exploring. Darling Harbour is one of my favourite places to wander around because there's always something happening, whether you're visiting during the day or at night. It's a lively waterfront precinct packed with restaurants, attractions and family-friendly spaces. Matt and I walked along the promenade, stopping and looking at the tall ships, and even a submarine docked outside the Australian National Maritime Museum. You don't even need to pay to go inside the museum, you just enjoy the view and see these massive vessels up close from the wharf. It's impressive on its own. Families will love the Tumbalong Park playground and water play area at Darling Quarter. It's free, shaded, and a great way for kids to cool off. Sea Life Aquarium and Wildlife Zoo are also right here, making it easy to spend a whole day without leaving the area. For food, Darling Harbour has everything from casual cafes to sit-down restaurants with harbour views. Prices vary, but expect about $20 to $40 per main meal. On weekends, stick around after dark because the harbour often hosts fireworks shows that light up the night sky. Crossing the Pyrmont Bridge is more than just a way to get from one side of Darling Harbour to the other, it's a piece of Sydney's history. Built in 1902, it was the world's oldest surviving swing bridges and still in operation today. What makes it so special is it actually opens and allows boats through Cockle Bay. And if you're lucky enough to catch it in action, the whole process takes around 5 minutes. The bridge is now dedicated to pedestrians and cyclists, which makes it a safe and relaxed crossing point. It's also one of the best spots for photos with views of the city skyline and water on both sides. The Queen Victoria Building, or QVB as most people call it, is more than just a shopping centre. Built in 1898, it was originally designed as a marketplace and has been carefully restored to its former glory. Walking inside feels like stepping back in time with stained glass windows, intricate tile work, and the famous dome ceilings that make you look up. The QVB is home to both international brands and Australian boutiques. You'll find jewellery shops and smaller specialty stores selling gifts and souvenirs. Even if shopping isn't your thing, one of the highlights is the Great Australian Clock, which features animated scenes from history and chimes on the hour. Matt and I stopped here for a coffee and snacks at one of the cafes, which was a nice break from the sightseeing. If you have more time, you can easily spend a couple of hours browsing or sitting down for lunch. It's also connected by underground passages to Town Hall Station, so it's convenient to include on your Sydney itinerary without going out of your way. Chinatown in Sydney is one of those places that every first-time visitor should experience, even if you've only got a few days in the city. The entrance is marked by the Dixon Street Archway, a traditional red and green gate that instantly sets the tone. One of the biggest draws to Chinatown is the food. The Friday night markets are a highlight, running from 4 p.m. until late. Stalls serve up dumplings, skewers, fried chicken, and all sorts of desserts. You can eat well for $15 to $20, and I recommend turning up hungry because the variety is huge. If you're visiting outside market times, Dixon Street is filled with restaurants ranging from yum cha to hot pot. On our last visit, Matt and I came through too early in the morning, so none of the food stalls were actually opened yet, but it was still fun to walk through. The Chinese Garden of Friendship is one of those places that makes you forget you're right beside a busy city. It's tucked away in Darling Harbour and feels like a little pocket of calm. As soon as you step through the gates, you'll see the winding paths, koi film ponds, small bridges and pavilions that look like they've been lifted straight out of China. It was built in 1988 as a symbol of friendship with Sydney's sister city, Guangzhou, which makes it more than just a pretty spot. It carries real cultural meaning. Entry costs about $12 for adults, so it's an affordable stop compared to so many Sydney's bigger attractions. I'd allow at least an hour to explore, maybe longer if you want to relax in the tea house. If you have a spare day on your Sydney itinerary, I can't recommend a trip to the Blue Mountains enough. Katoomba is the main town and acts as a gateway to the region. The star attraction is Scenic Whirl, where you can ride the Scenic Railway, which is the steepest passenger railway in the world. Glide across the valley on the Skyway or take the cableway down into the rainforest. Each ride gives you a different perspective, and tickets are about $60 per adult for unlimited use throughout the day. From there, the Three Sisters Rock Formation at Echo Point Lookout is an absolute must. The views over Jamison Valley are spectacular, and it's only a short walk from Katoomba town. If you want flexibility, the Hop On, Hop Off Explorer bus is a good choice. It costs about $55 per adult and stops at over 30 sites, including waterfalls and walking tracks. St Mary's Cathedral is a striking example of Gothic-style architecture and sits right beside Hyde Park. Its twin spires and sandstone face make it one of Sydney's most recognisable buildings. Whether you're religious or not, it's worth stepping inside to see the stained glass windows and vaulted ceilings. The detail is incredible, and it feels like a quiet, reflective space compared to the busy city outside. When visiting, remember this is an active place of worship. If you're not there for prayer, it's best to stay towards the back and always remain respectful. Photography is generally allowed, but avoid taking pictures during service. Entry is free, though donations are welcomed. It doesn't take too long to explore, but it's a nice stop if you're already visiting Hyde Park or the Australian Museum. The Royal Botanic Gardens are one of Sydney's most beautiful green spaces and a must for anyone who enjoys walking in nature. Spread over 30 hectares right next to the harbour, they're free to enter and open daily. You can wander past themed gardens like Palm Grove or the Rose Garden, or simply find a shady spot to sit and take in the views. What I loved most was how peaceful it felt compared to the city streets outside the gates. We spent about 2 hours walking around, though you could easily spend longer if you enjoy photography, as the gardens are full of colourful flowers, historic trees, and even a few curious birds. There's also a cafe inside if you want a break. Mrs Macquarie's chair is a sandstone bench carved in 1810 for the Governor Macquarie's wife, who enjoyed sitting here to watch the harbour. Today it's one of the most famous viewpoints in Sydney, and for good reason. From this spot you get a postcard perfect view of both the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge in the same frame. Getting here involves a pleasant walk through the Royal Botanic Gardens, which makes the journey part of the experience. It can get crowded here at sunset as photographers and tour groups gather for the best light. If you want fewer people in your photos, try visiting earlier in the day. There's no cost and it doesn't take too long, but it's one of Sydney's must-dos that delivers every time. The First Fleet steps are easy to miss if you're rushing around, but they hold an important piece of Sydney's history. They mark the approximate landing place for the First Fleet in 1788. When European settlement of Australia began. The steps are now part of the busy ferry wharf area, so they're surrounded by people coming and going. Yet if you pause, you can find plaques and signs explaining their significance and will help you learn. No trip to Sydney is complete without seeing the Opera House up close. The white sails dominate the harbour, and while you can admire it from many viewpoints, walking right up to it gives you a real sense of its scale. The forecourt and steps are always buzzing with visitors, street performers and people soaking up the atmosphere. If you want to go beyond the exterior, I highly recommend taking a guided tour. The tours run every day and cost around $50 per adult, lasting about an hour. You'll learn about the building's design by Danish architect Jorn Utzon and complicated construction history and how it functions today as a performance venue. For music and theatre lovers, booking tickets to a show makes the experience even more special. I was impressed at how much more we appreciated the Opera House after hearing the stories on the tour. Standing inside the concert halls with their incredible acoustics gave you a whole new perspective. Even if you skip the tour, just walking around the exterior and sitting on the steps to watch the ferries glide across the harbour is a Sydney highlight itself. But seeing it in dancing lights at the Sydney Vivid Festival was especially gorgeous, which we did see a few years ago. Manly Beach is one of Sydney's most iconic beaches, second to Bondi Beach of course. The ferry from Circular Quay takes about 30 minutes. Once you arrive, the Corso is a lively pedestrian strip filled with shops, cafes and surf stores which lead you straight to the sand. The beach itself is wide and popular with surfers, swimmers and sunbathers, except on the day we visited when it couldn't stop raining. Despite that, lifeguards patrol the area and flags mark the safest places to swim. If you're short on time, even a couple of hours of Manly is worth it for the relaxed beach time vibe. Grab fish and chips, enjoy an ice cream by the shore or sip a cold drink at one of the beachside bars. For a first-time visitor, Manly gives you a chance to see the surf culture without straying too far from the city. The Rocks is one of the city's oldest neighbourhoods, which has a fascinating contrast to the modern skyline buildings. Its cobbled laneways, sandstone buildings and historic pubs give it a unique charm. We enjoyed wandering the narrow streets, stopping in at hidden courtyards and old terrace houses that felt like stepping back in time. If you're here on the weekend, don't miss the Rocks markets. Stalls sell everything from handmade jewellery to artwork to gourmet food and souvenirs. Plus, you'll catch a glimpse of the live music and street performers. History buffs will appreciate the walking tours available, which dive into Sydney's colonial past and even its darker side with ghost tours. Or simply pop into one of the heritage pubs for a drink or visit the museum. Observatory Hill is one of the best free lookouts over the city, offering sweeping views of the Harbour Bridge, Walsh Bay and the western side of the harbour. It's a quieter spot compared to Mrs Macquarie's chair and perfect if you want space to take photos without crowds. The grassy hilltop is also a favourite for picnic and watching the sunsets. At the top of the hill sits Sydney Observatory, a heritage building dating back to 1858. During the day, you can explore the grounds and learn about the site's history as both an observatory and timekeeping centre. There's also a small museum inside with astronomy exhibits and telescopes. Admission is free to the grounds, while the night tours, about $38 per adult, let you stargaze through the telescopes at night. Walking across Sydney Harbour Bridge is one of the simplest and most rewarding things you can do in Sydney. The pedestrian walkway is free and takes about 20 to 30 minutes to cross, or doubled if you count the return. With fantastic views of the Opera House, Circular Quay and the city skyline. It's especially stunning at sunrise or sunset when the light over the harbour is at its best. If you want an even better vantage point, the Harbour Bridge Pylon lookout is a must. For $30 per adult, you can climb 200 steps inside the southeast pylon to reach a viewing platform with panoramic views of the harbour. Along the way, exhibits explain the history and construction of the bridge, which opened in 1932. Matt and I really enjoyed how uncrowded the Pylon lookout was compared to other attractions. It felt like a hidden alternative to the famous bridge climb, which can cost upwards of $300. The Pylon gives you similar views at a fraction of the price, and you don't even need a booking. Whether you just do the free walk or add the lookout, it's worth adding to your Sydney itinerary. Wendy Whiteley's secret garden in Lavender Bay is one of those spots that feels like a local treasure. Tucked behind Milsons Point and Luna Park, this hidden garden was created by Wendy, the wife of artist Brett Whiteley, after his passing in the 1990s. What started as her personal project has grown into a lush, layered public space filled with winding paths, sculptures and hidden corners. The garden is free to enter and open every day. It's not huge, but you can easily spend an hour here wandering or sitting quietly with a coffee from one of the nearby cafes. Locals often use it for exercise or picnics, while visitors come for the harbour views framed by greenery. Luna Park is one of Sydney's most iconic landmarks, and you'll spot it instantly by its giant smiling face entrance. Located at Milsons Point, right by the harbour, it's a mix of old school amusement ride, carnival games and waterfront views. Even if you don't go on the rides, walking through is a nostalgic experience. Entry is free, but if you want to enjoy the rides, you'll need to buy a rides pass, which ranges in price from $44 to $75. The atmosphere is playful and the views of the Harbour Bridge and Opera House from the park are some of the best. Opening times vary, so it's best to check ahead. No attraction list in Sydney would be complete without a visit to Bondi Beach. Famous worldwide, Bondi is a must for first-timers. The beach stretches about a kilometre with golden sand, rolling waves and plenty of space for both surfers and swimmers. During the summer, it's packed, but if you visit in winter like Matt and I did, you'll find it quieter and easier to enjoy at your own pace. Parking near the beach can be tricky and expensive, so I'd recommend using public transport when you can. I'll link a video in the description below to help you out with that. Once you're here, you can swim, rent a surfboard, or simply watch the waves from the shore. There's also a great cafe scene with plenty of spaces for brunch and a casual lunch. Right at the southern end of Bondi Beach, you'll find the famous Bondi Icebergs. This ocean pool is carved into the rock and waves often crash over the edge, making it a unique swimming experience. Entry to the pool costs around $10 for adults and it's open year-round. If the surf is too rough for the beach, this is a safer but still a salty option. Above the pool is Icebergs Dining Room and Bar, an upscale restaurant with panoramic views of Bondi. The food here isn't cheap, so expect mains to start around $35 to $50 a piece, but the setting makes it worthwhile for a special meal. And it's one of the most photographed spots in Sydney. The Bondi to Coogee Coastal Walk is a scenic experience and a must on a Sydney itinerary. Stretching about 6 kilometres, it winds along cliffs, past beaches and through parklands. You don't even need to get the whole thing done in one go. Just sections from Bondi to Bondi Beach offers stunning views and takes about an hour. We set off from Bondi Beach and it made it as far as Mackenzie Point Lookout. The ocean was wild that day and the waves were smashing into the rock, which made it dramatic to watch. The lookout is only a short walk from Bondi and offers one of the best vantage points of the coastline. The weather can really change your experience here. We got caught in a quick rain shower which cut our walk short, but once it cleared, the path felt fresh and even more alive. If you're planning to do the whole walk, bring water, wear comfortable shoes and check the weather conditions. Bondi Beach is just a short walk south of Bondi and has a more relaxed, family-friendly vibe. The beach is smaller but still popular with swimmers and surfers. The highlight here is the Bronte Baths, a free ocean pool built into the rocks at the southern end of the beach, which is an alternative to Icebergs mentioned before. It's great for safe swimming, although waves can still wash over if the tide is high or the surf is rough. I love how the baths give you the chance to swim in seawater without worrying too much about currents. It felt like a local favourite since we saw lots of families, lap swimmers and people just cooling off on the steps. Around the beach you'll also find grassy picnic spots and a few cafes. Now that you've found out the best things to see in Sydney, you can click here for my video on how to use the public transport. I think Sydney's public transport system makes getting around very easy, even for first timers. A contactless card is your best friend here and it works across trains, buses, ferries and light rail. If you liked today's video, please give us a thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching the whole way through, guys, and I will see you for the next one.